The atmosphere on the set of the Kelly Clarkson Show was electric as the audience eagerly awaited the appearance of rap legend Snoop Dogg. Known for his smooth demeanor and quick wit, Snoop was expected to bring his signature charm to the daytime talk show. Kelly Clarkson, the host with the golden voice and an infectious laugh, had been promoting this episode for weeks, teasing a fun and lively conversation with the hip-hop icon. The stage was set with vibrant lights and a cozy interview setup, complete with plush chairs and a coffee table adorned with Snoop's latest album merchandise. Fans in the audience buzzed with excitement, some holding signs that read "Snoop for President" and "Gin and Juice Forever." The show began with Kelly's signature opening monologue, filled with her trademark humor and warmth, setting a light-hearted tone. She introduced Snoop with a glowing tribute, highlighting his groundbreaking career, from his debut album Doggystyle to his recent ventures as a coach on The Voice. As Snoop strolled onto the stage, dressed in a sleek purple tracksuit and his iconic sunglasses, the crowd erupted in applause. The initial exchange was warm as Kelly and Snoop shared a friendly hug, and the conversation kicked off with playful banter about their shared love for music and Snoop's recent Olympic commentary gig. They laughed over his viral moments, like his hilarious reactions during the Paris 2024 coverage. The audience was eating it up, and for a moment, it seemed like the interview would be a feel-good hit. But as the conversation shifted to Snoop's evolution as an artist, a subtle tension began to emerge. Kelly, known for her candid interviewing style, asked Snoop about the challenges of staying authentic in an industry that constantly demands reinvention. Snoop nodded thoughtfully, but his response carried a slight edge, hinting at a deeper disagreement. The audience, still riding the high of the initial excitement, didn't yet sense the storm brewing. Kelly pressed further, asking about the balance between Snoop's gangsta rap roots and his newer, family-friendly persona. Snoop's smile tightened, and he leaned back in his chair, his body language shifting from relaxed to guarded. The stage lights seemed to dim slightly as the mood shifted, and the crew exchanged quick glances, sensing something was off. What started as a friendly chat was beginning to feel like a chess match, with each question and answer carefully calculated. The audience, still clapping and cheering, was unaware that this interview was about to take a dramatic turn, one that would dominate headlines and spark heated debates across social media platforms. As the interview progressed, the conversation took a sharp turn into uncharted territory. Kelly, with her knack for diving into deeper topics, brought up Snoop's lyrical content from the '90s, questioning how he reconciled his past with his current role as a cultural ambassador. Snoop, usually unflappable, seemed caught off guard by the directness of the question. He leaned forward, his voice steady but firm, defending his legacy as a pioneer who never compromised his authenticity. He spoke passionately about how his music reflected the realities of his upbringing, and how his evolution was a natural response to personal growth, not a betrayal of his roots. Kelly nodded, but her follow-up question about the commercialization of hip-hop struck a nerve. She suggested that some artists, perhaps even Snoop, had softened their edges to appeal to mainstream audiences, which could dilute the genre's raw power. The audience gasped softly, sensing the shift from playful to pointed. Snoop's eyes narrowed behind his sunglasses, and he fired back, arguing that adapting to the times was about survival, not selling out. He pointed out his collaborations with artists like Pharrell and Katy Perry, emphasizing that versatility was a strength, not a weakness. Kelly, undeterred, countered with a comment about how some fans felt Snoop's newer projects, like his gospel album, seemed like a departure from the gritty sound that made him a legend. The crowd murmured, torn between loyalty to Snoop and curiosity about Kelly's perspective. Snoop's tone grew sharper as he challenged Kelly to name another artist who had stayed relevant for 3 decades without evolving. The exchange was no longer a friendly debate, it was a clash of ideals, with Kelly representing the purist's view and Snoop defending his multifaceted career. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled to keep the show on track, whispering into headsets about whether to cut to a commercial break. The tension was palpable, and the audience, now fully aware of the escalating drama, leaned forward in their seats. Social media was already buzzing with clips of the exchange, with fans taking sides and dissecting every word. The stage, Once a warm and inviting space, New felt like a battleground where authenticity and legacy were being fiercely contested. The third segment of the interview was where things truly unraveled. Kelly, perhaps sensing the need to lighten the mood, tried to pivot to a lighter topic: Snoop's role as a mentor on The Voice. She praised his emotional connection with contestants, referencing a tearful moment from season 20 when a contestant's story about a near-death experience brought both Snoop and Kelly to tears. But Snoop, still bristling from the earlier exchange, wasn't ready to let the previous topic go. He interrupted Kelly, saying, "You keep talking about authenticity, but you ain't lived my life, Kelly. You don't know what it's like to come from where I come from." The audience fell silent, stunned by the raw intensity in his voice. Kelly, visibly taken aback, tried to defuse the situation with a joke, but Snoop wasn't having it. He stood up, pacing slightly, and launched into a passionate monologue about the struggles of maintaining a career in an industry that often misunderstands artists from his background. He spoke about the pressure to conform, the scrutiny he faced, and the unfair expectation to remain frozen in time as the gangster rapper from the '90s. Kelly listened, her face a mix of empathy and surprise, but she couldn't resist interjecting, suggesting that fans deserved consistency from their icons. That was the breaking point. Snoop stopped pacing, removed his sunglasses, and stared directly at Kelly, saying, "Consistency? You think I owe anybody consistency? I owe myself the right to grow." The audience erupted in a mix of cheers and gasps, some applauding Snoop's candor, others shocked by the direct confrontation. The crew, now in full panic mode, signaled for a commercial break, but Snoop wasn't done. He tossed his mic onto the coffee table and walked off the set, leaving Kelly stunned and the audience in a frenzy. The abrupt exit sent shockwaves through the studio, with crew members scrambling to figure out how to proceed. Social media exploded with hashtags like #Snoop vs Kelly and #Kelly Clarkson Show clash, as fans and critics alike debated who was in the right. The moment was raw, unscripted, and unlike anything the show had seen before, cementing it as a viral sensation. The aftermath of Snoop's dramatic exit left the studio in chaos. Kelly, ever the professional, regained her composure and addressed the audience, acknowledging the intensity of the moment. "Well, folks, that's live TV for ya," she said with a nervous laugh, trying to steer the show back to its upbeat vibe. She transitioned to a pre-recorded segment featuring a musical performance, giving the crew time to regroup. Behind the scenes, producers were in a frenzy, debating whether to coax Snoop back or let the incident stand as the episode's defining moment. Snoop, meanwhile, was spotted in the green room, cooling off with his entourage, reportedly frustrated but not entirely regretful. Sources close to the show later revealed that Snoop felt Kelly's questions were unfairly critical, painting him as a sellout rather than a trailblazer. Fans on social media were divided as some praised Snoop for standing up for himself, arguing that Kelly's line of questioning was too aggressive, while others felt Snoop overreacted to valid points about his career trajectory. Clips of the confrontation spread like wildfire, with YouTube channels and gossip blogs posting Snoop Dogg kicked off Kelly Clarkson Show headlines, though technically, Snoop walked off voluntarily. The narrative took on a life of its own, with some outlets exaggerating the incident, claiming Kelly had security escort Snoop out, a detail debunked by eyewitnesses. The debate raged on X, with posts analyzing body language, tone, and even the cultural implications of the clash. Some fans pointed out that Kelly, as a pop and country artist, might not fully grasp the nuances of hip-hop's evolution, while others defended her right to ask tough questions. The incident also sparked broader conversations about authenticity in music, the pressures of fame, and how artists navigate public expectations. For Kelly, the moment was a rare misstep in her otherwise stellar hosting career, but it also showcased her willingness to engage in real, unfiltered conversations. For Snoop, it was a reminder of his fiery spirit, proving that even after decades in the spotlight, he wasn't afraid to speak his truth. The fallout from the clash extended beyond the studio, dominating entertainment news for days. Talk show pundits dissected the incident, with some calling it a masterclass in live TV drama, while others criticized both Kelly and Snoop for letting emotions derail the interview. The Kelly Clarkson Show's official social media accounts posted a carefully worded statement, emphasizing that the show values open dialogue and respects Snoop's contributions to music. Snoop, in true form, took to Instagram Live to address the situation, keeping his cool but standing firm. "I ain't got no beef with Kelly, but don't come at me sideways about my art," he said, sparking a fresh wave of support from his fans. Kelly, meanwhile, addressed the incident on the next episode, expressing admiration for Snoop's passion and clarifying that her questions were meant to spark discussion, not judgment. She even invited him back, joking, "Snoop, we got more chairs and some gin and juice waiting for ya." The gesture was well received, but Snoop had yet to respond publicly. Industry insiders speculated about the long-term impact on their professional relationship, especially given their history of collaboration on The Voice on American Song Contest. Some wondered if the clash would affect Snoop's role as a coach on The Voice, where he and Kelly had previously shared emotional moments mentoring contestants. The incident also reignited discussions about the challenges of cross-genre interviews, where artists from different musical worlds navigate sensitive topics like authenticity and legacy. Fans continued to flood comment sections with their takes, some creating memes of Snoop's mic drop and Kelly's stunned expression. The viral nature of the moment boosted the Kelly Clarkson Show's ratings, with the episode becoming one of the most watched in its 6th season. Yet, it also raised questions about the fine line between provocative interviewing and pushing a guest too far. For Snoop, the incident reinforced his image as an artist who stays true to himself, even at the cost of a dramatic exit. For Kelly, it was a learning moment, highlighting the complexities of discussing an artist's evolution in a public forum. In the weeks that followed, the Snoop Dogg-Kelly Clarkson clash became a cultural touchstone, sparking think pieces and hot takes across media platforms. Entertainment outlets compared it to other iconic talk show moments, like Kanye West's "George Bush doesn't care about black people" statement or David Letterman's tense interviews with controversial figures. The incident prompted deeper discussions about the role of talk shows in navigating sensitive topics, especially when race, culture, and artistic identity intersect. Some commentators argued that Kelly's questions, while well-intentioned, overlooked the systemic challenges Snoop faced as a black artist in a predominantly white industry. Others felt Snoop's reaction was disproportionate, suggesting he could have addressed Kelly's points without storming off. The debate even reached academic circles, with music scholars analyzing the clash as a case study in hip-hop's ongoing struggle for respect. Meanwhile, Snoop and Kelly's teams reportedly worked behind the scenes to smooth things over, with rumors of a potential reconciliation episode. Fans speculated about a joint performance or a candid sit-down to clear the air. The incident also highlighted the power of social media and shaping narratives, as edited clips and out-of-context quotes fueled exaggerated versions of the story. Despite the drama, both Snoop and Kelly emerged with their reputations intact, as Snoop as the unapologetic icon and Kelly as the relatable host who isn't afraid to ask tough questions. The Kelly Clarkson Show continued to thrive, with Season 7 confirmed to return in the fall, proving its resilience amid controversy. Snoop, meanwhile, focused on his upcoming projects, including new music and his role on The Voice, showing no signs of slowing down. The clash, while heated, ultimately underscored the passion both artists bring to their craft, reminding fans that real conversations, even messy ones, are what make live TV unforgettable. As the dust settled, the incident became less about who was right or wrong and more about the raw, human connection between two music giants navigating a complex industry.